A world of Winnie-the-Pooh. Winnie-the-Pooh and some bees. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, Winnie-the-Pooh lived in a forest all by himself. One day when he was out walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest, and in the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of the tree there came a loud buzzing noise. Winnie-the-Pooh sat down at the foot of the tree, put his head between his paws and began to think. First of all, he said to himself, "That buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise, and the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is because you're a bee." Then he thought for another long time and said, "And the only reason for being bee that I know of is making honey." And then he got up and said, "And the only reason for making honey is so that I can eat it." And he began to climb the tree. He climbed and he climbed and he climbed. And as he climbed, he sang a little song to himself. "Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wonder why he does." Then he climbed a little further and a little further and then just a little further. By that time he'd thought of another song. "It's a very funny thought that, if bears were bees, they'd build their nests at the bottom of trees. And that being so, if the bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb up all these stairs." He was getting rather tired by this time, and so he sang a complaining song. He was nearly there now, though, and as he just stood on one more branch, crack! "Oh, help!" said Pooh, as he dropped 10 feet onto the branch below him. "If only I hadn't," he said, as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. "You see, what I meant to do," he explained, as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. "Of course it was rather," he admitted, as he slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. "It all comes, I suppose," he decided, as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. "It all comes from liking honey so much. Oh, help." He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose and began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. So Winnie-the-Pooh went round to see his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. "Good morning, Christopher Robin," he said. "Good morning, Winnie-the-Pooh," said Christopher Robin. "I wonder if you have such a thing as a balloon about you." "A balloon?" "Yes, I just said to myself coming along, I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him. I just said it to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering." "What do you want a balloon for?" Winnie-the-Pooh looked round to see that nobody was listening, put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper, "Honey." "But you don't get honey with balloons." "I do," said Pooh. Well, it just so happened that Christopher Robin had been to a party the day before and had come home with 2 balloons, a green balloon and a blue balloon. "Which one would you like?" Pooh put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. "It's like this," he said. "When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you were only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue balloon, they might think you were only part of the sky and not notice you. The only question is, which is most likely?" "Wouldn't they notice you underneath the balloon?" asked Christopher Robin. They might, or they might not, said Winnie-the-Pooh. You can never tell with bees. He thought for a moment and said, I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them. Then you'd better have the blue balloon, Christopher Robin said, and so it was decided. They went out with the blue balloon, and Christopher Robin took his pop gun with him just in case, and Winnie-the-Pooh went to a very muddy place that he knew of and rolled and rolled and rolled until he was muddy all over. And then, when the balloon was blown up as big, Christopher Robin and Pooh, each holding on to a string, Christopher Robin let go, and Winnie-the-Pooh floated gracefully up into the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree and about 20 feet away from it. Hooray! Christopher Robin shouted. Isn't that fine? Shouted Winnie-the-Pooh. What do I look like? You look like a bear holding on to a balloon. Not, said Pooh anxiously, not like a small cloud in a blue sky? Not very much. Well, perhaps it looks different from up here. As I say, you can never tell with bees. There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while he called down. Christopher Robin, he said in a loud whisper, I think the bees suspect something. What sort of thing? I don't know, but something tells me they are suspicious. Perhaps they think that you're after their honey. It may be that. You can never tell with bees. There was another little silence, and then he called down again. Christopher Robin? Yes. Do you have an umbrella in your house? I think so. I wish you would bring it out here and walk up and down with it and look up at me every now and then and say, it looks like rain. I think if you did that, it would help the deception which we are practicing on these bees. Well, said Christopher Robin, silly old bear. But he didn't say it aloud, and he went home for his umbrella. Oh, there you are, called down Winnie-the-Pooh as soon as Christopher Robin got back to the tree. I was beginning to get anxious. I've discovered that the bees are definitely suspicious. Shall I put my umbrella up? Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. The important bee to deceive is the queen bee. Can you see which is the queen bee from down there? No. Oh, pity. Well, now, if you walk up and down with your umbrella saying, tut, tut, it looks like rain, I shall do what I can by singing a little cloud song such as a cloud might sing. Go. So while Christopher Robin walked up and down wondering if it would rain, Winnie-the-Pooh sang this song. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud. The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them indeed left their nests and flew all round the cloud as it began the second verse of his song, and one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. Christopher, out! Robin, called out the cloud. Yes? I've just been thinking, and I've come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sort of bees. Are they? Quite the wrong sort. So I should think they would make the wrong sort of honey, shouldn't you? Would they? Yes. So I think I shall come down. How? Winnie-the-Pooh hadn't thought about that. If he let go of the string, he would fall, bump, and he didn't like the idea of that at all. So he thought for a long time, and then he said, Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun? Of course I have, said Christopher Robin, but if I do that, it will spoil the balloon. But if you don't, said Pooh. "I shall have to let go, and that would spoil me." When he put it like that, Christopher Robin aimed very carefully at the balloon and fired. "Ow!" said Pooh. "Did I miss?" asked Christopher Robin. "You didn't exactly miss," said Pooh. "You just missed the balloon." "I'm so sorry," said Christopher Robin, and he fired again, and this time he hit the balloon, and the air came slowly down, and Winnie-the-Pooh floated to the ground. But his arms were so stiff from holding on to the string of the balloon all that time that they stayed up straight in the air for more than a week. And if a fly came and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off because he couldn't brush it off with his hands. The end.